I'm going to start this video off by saying, whatever, whatever you do, please, for the love of all that is holy, do not, I repeat, do not rent from a house that you found on Craigslist. Bad idea. I mean, I'm not saying that all of the landlords on there are bad, because there are like some legit realtor places that will post their homes on there. That's different. That's fine. But if it's an actual person, please don't do it. Or if you do, do some crazy research. Please. Please. Because you'll be in my situation. I apologize for my lack of activity on my channel the past like 2 weeks. I have been dealing with a very serious thing with my landlord, my home situation, really. That's been going on for like 2 weeks. And it's probably finally coming to a close. I won't know really until Monday. Today's Friday. Okay, how do I start this off? Well, me and my friend, we were living in her mother's home. Like, her mom rented the house out to us because she owned it. And she was just kind of tired of owning a home. So she wanted to get rid of it. She wanted to sell it. That's fine. So me and my friend, we had to kind of hurry and find somewhere to go. So we checked on Craigslist for people renting out their houses. And we found a house we thought was beautiful, really cheap, very Victorian, you know, so it kind of got all right. So we contacted the guy, did our little applications, and we got approved. We went and looked at the house. The house looked really nice, but when we came to the little interview thing, the house was trash, which my assumption and her assumption was he's cleaning it up. This shit will be clean before we move in. No. So we got approved for the house. We got it. He chose us. He like really up-talked us. He was all like, yeah, I go to Coachella and I do all this really fun shit, and these shoes that I'm wearing are $800 pair of shoes. Like, he just made us feel like he was all fancy. I don't know. It's kind of weird. A little weird vibe. The day comes for us to move in. We get here, and it looks exactly like it did the day we came over for the interview thing. There was still trash, like, everywhere. Like, piles of trash with a room next to it, just not picked up. The windows weren't fixed. It was like broken windows. We moved in with broken windows. A good 4 of the walls in this house had just crayons all over it. Crayon markings from the kids that were here before. Didn't paint over them. Like, so, you know, I mean, that pissed us off. We move in, and I text him, and I'm just like, hey, there's still trash everywhere, and the walls aren't, you know, fixed. The windows aren't fixed, but we had to get out of her mom's house. There was holes in so many walls. So I didn't hear from him for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. And here's another little thing. He only had my phone number. When we gave him contact info, he had my phone number and my email address. Never asked for my roommate's stuff, only had mine. And that will come into play towards the end. So there's that. 3 days go by. I finally hear from him. And he was like, okay. He was like, well, take pictures of everything I need to fix, and I'll have someone out there to fix it. We're like, oh, cool. So we took photos of everything, sent them to him. We were like, we still need our stove and our refrigerator or whatever, because he was going to provide those things for us. So I sent him those pictures, didn't hear back for a week. And I'm texting him every single day. I'm like, hey, if I'm going to get fixed, you know, what's up? Finally, he was like, okay, I'll schedule an appointment for you, for these people to come over and deliver your things and fix your stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. So the day comes to have, there was 2 separate days. So the first day was we were getting our stuff delivered. Second day, they were going to come fix the stuff. So these guys show up with our things, which is a refrigerator, a stove, and a washer and dryer. Didn't speak English, which I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It's just the fact that I needed to talk to them to ask them a question, and they had no idea what I was saying. And I was like, well, crap. They literally came in, dropped this stuff like in our living room. We were like, oh, can you put it where it's supposed to go? Because me and her are strong enough to, you know, move that stuff, because they had a dolly. He just looked at me and shook his head like he didn't know what I was saying, and I was like, crap, how do I explain this? So eventually, you know, we got them to put it where it goes, and come to find out, it was an older man and a younger man. I guess the younger man knew English, but he acted like he didn't for whatever reason for the first hour they were there. Finally, as they were leaving, I was like, aren't you guys going to install it? We don't know how to do that. And he was like, oh no, we don't install, we just deliver. I was like, oh, okay. All right. I texted my landlord again. I was like, we don't know how to install this stuff. Like, how are we going to get this installed? He was like, you got to find someone to do it. I was like, okay. So luckily, my stepdad, he knows all this stuff. So he came over, hooked up our washer and dryer and our stove and everything. Well, as he was hooking up the washer and dryer, he was like, they gave you an electric dryer and we need a gas dryer. I was like, okay. Told my landlord again. I was like, you own this house. I figured you would know that we need a gas dryer and not an electric one. And he was like, oh, my apologies. I'll get that fixed. He got it fixed in like the next week. And then we were able to finally do laundry. We did laundry, and the washer was squirting water everywhere. And I told the landlord, I was like, I don't know what's going on. The laundry room was flooded. He was like, okay, you got to replace the valves or something. And I was like, okay, are you going to do it? And he's like, no, that's you got to do it. I was like, okay. So, again, we got that fixed. God, it was so bad. So, we moved in September. The first couple months was just hell because nothing was getting fixed. It was taking forever to get stuff fixed. And when we signed our lease, he didn't have a copy to give us. He was like, oh, you don't need a copy. You can just take a picture of it. We were like, okay. So, I have a picture of my lease on my phone, but I don't have an actual copy of it. And that's irritating. So, there's that. There's so much to talk about. So, we didn't have a copy of our lease, which was weird. So, rent was due on the 1st every month, but we had until the 12th to get it in before there was a late fee or whatever. Well, the first, from September up until November, he was on it. He was texting me the day before to remind me of rent. If it was a day late, he was like, okay, we got to talk about this. And I was like, okay, we got it. It's cool. We just took us a minute to get used to things. He was on the ball, on it with rent, okay? And this is where all the sketchy shit happens. So in February 2nd, me and my roommate got a letter to our door, a certified letter, saying that our landlord no longer owned this home, that he was in default of his mortgage, and it was going to be foreclosed. So we're just like, are you serious? To get a letter like that, you had to be like crazy behind on your mortgage, like crazy behind. So clearly, the rent we're giving him isn't helping with the mortgage like it's supposed to, is my guess. It's being used on whatever else. Okay, we get that letter, and we don't know what to do. We're just like, what do we do? Everyone that we spoke to said, no, don't pay any more rent. He doesn't own that house. Eventually, the bank will take it, and you guys got to get out. But right now, you guys are good. Don't pay no more rent. So we did it. My roommate, she found somewhere else to go because she didn't want to be there when we got evicted eventually from the bank anyway. So she went ahead and got herself somewhere else, and I stayed here. And no, I did not pay rent from February up until now, which is, it's May now. And this is where I don't understand. We stopped paying rent in February. We never once heard from him at all. We did not hear from him, because I haven't paid rent for 3 months. Before, he was on the ball. The day before rent, hey, your rent's due. Hey, your rent's due. It's late. I didn't pay rent for 3 months and never heard from him. Not once. Not saying, hey, where's the rent? Why haven't you paid it? Did not hear a thing for 3 months. So everyone was like, well, probably because he knew he got caught. It's no longer his house. Whatever. I was like, okay, cool. So things were just the way they were, really. Last week, I come home from work. His Jeep is in my driveway, and he's padlocking my front door. He's putting one of those, lock boxes on it, and has a handwritten sign taped on my front door saying, property abandoned, clean out scheduled for it said 21st. He marked out the 1, put a 3, but that Saturday was the 30th. He's a dumbass. I don't know what else to say it. Dude legit had the most unprofessional letter I've ever seen in my life, a fake little letter, and said that he was going to have everything in this home destroyed that Saturday. And I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I haven't had rent from you in 3 months. I was like, you no longer own this house. I got a letter saying you didn't. He was like, oh, that's not true, sweetie. He was like, that The company that sent you that letter was a scam. I was like, it's a certified letter. It's not scam. It's certified. I don't know how else to tell you it's not fake. And he was like, oh, I don't have a mortgage on that house, sweetheart. I'm like, okay. That letter just came here for no reason. Whatever. Kept denying it. Said he hadn't had rent in 3 months. And I was like, you also never contacted me in 3 months asking me where it was. And he was like, oh, that's not true. I've called, texted, and emailed your roommate. I was like, did you? Because you've never had her phone number. You've never had her email address. That's a lie. You always contacted me, and I never got a single thing from you. Dude just kept, like, running circles. Like, I get it. I'm young, I'm gullible, and I'm freaking naive, but you've got to be kidding me. I'm not that stupid. I'm not that dumb. Like, come on now. So he was like, well, if you want, we can sue your roommate for leaving. I'm like, are you serious? No. She left because you weren't doing your job and paying your mortgage, and we were going to be homeless eventually. So she did the smart thing, and she got out. I'm working on it. It's just going to take me a little bit longer because I'm by myself right now. And he was like, well, if you want to stay here, you can pay me $1,400 tomorrow, and we can sign a new lease. I was like, no. That's not happening. So he left. He said he was going to be back the next day at 6:30. And we were going to have a meeting regarding how long I was going to stay there, or if I wanted to stay, or whatever. I was like, okay. So, called my mom. I was freaking out. Didn't know what to do. And she contacted her landlord friends and the police. So, they all came over here the next day before he got here. We all had a talk. The police woman told me he cannot come into my home without my permission because I'm still on the lease whether I was paying rent or not. I still live here. She said, honestly, sweetheart, she was like, he is trying to scare you. It sounds like he's a fake landlord that happens to find a home that no one really owned and he took over it, but he's not paying the mortgage or anything. He hasn't gotten caught yet. I was like, she went up to the little lockbox. There was no key in it. He literally just tried to scare me out of his house. He put a lockbox on my front door with no key in it. Are you freaking serious? And she was like, sweetheart, tear that sign down. Ain't nobody going in your house. That's illegal. If he goes into your house without your permission, that is illegal. He goes to jail. He's not going to do it. He is just trying to scare you. I was like, okay, cool. Sits there and talks to us for a minute. She explains to me that the most he can do is go to the court and try to do like an intent to evict, but she was like, he won't. That's going to cost him money. He won't do that. So she was like, honestly, sweetheart, she's like, you can be here as long as you want. She's like, but if I was you, I'd get out. And I was like, I'm going to try. That's what I'm going to do. So she had to leave, but my mom and her two landlord friends stayed there to be there for me when he showed up. 6:30 comes around. He's not there. 7 o'clock comes around. We're all standing outside waiting for him. He drives past, and he goes around the corner. I'm thinking he's going to park in the carport that I have on the side of the house. So he drives over there. We think he's going to park, so we're all standing there waiting. 5 minutes goes by. Mom's like, where's he at? She walks around the house. The dude wasn't there. He seriously drove by and dipped because he saw all of us standing out there. This part is so freaking funny. So I get a text 2 minutes later from him saying, hey, sorry, I just now left the office. I'm running kind of late. Can we reschedule for tomorrow? I was like, dude, I literally just saw you drive past my house. You ain't in no office. You got scared because you saw me that I had people here with myself. I was like, what you are doing is illegal. I already had the police speak to me and everything. I was like, you're doing some illegal shit, dude. Like, you're going to get caught. And he was like, can we please just make a plan for you to get out ASAP? I just want my house back. He was like, I don't want any more money from you, blah, blah, blah. I just want you out. I was like, dude, I'm going to get out. You just got to give me a minute because, you know, I didn't expect all this to happen. Because, yeah, I knew the bank would eventually kick me out, but they would have gave me 30 days and I would have had time. I was like, you're literally just showing up out of nowhere trying to get me out, you know, whatever. So I told him, I was like, I'm looking at a house in 2 days. I'll let you know if I get it. If so, I move out June 6th. He was like, okay. The next day goes by, and he was like, so I'm just confirming you're going to leave June 6th. And I said, no, that's not what I said. I said I'm going to look at a house, and if I get it, I can move in June 6th. Yes, but if I don't get it, you got to give me more time to find a place to go. And he was like, you know what? I don't like that. I don't want you living in my house a whole month of May for free. I was like, then what are you going to do? Because, you know, I know you don't want to spend no money or whatever. And he was like, well, I'm going to the courts today and I'm going to file for intent to evict. I'm like, fine, do that. I'm like, well, you're just making it to where I can stay here longer. I was like, because you have to do that. Then they have to make a court date, and then I go to the court date, and then they do my eviction. It was just 30 days. So you're literally prolonging my stay here. I was like, you're so stupid. Like, oh my God, I can't get over it. So that's really what's happening right now. I'm out of here. Oh my God, I'm out of here. I need out of here because this guy is crazy and stupid, and I don't get it. I just don't understand. Crazy shit always happens to me, and I'm so over it. Like, I'm over it. Oh, that's what I've been dealing with for like the past week or so, if not 2 weeks. I'm hoping it's finally over. But yeah, so that's the landlord thing. There's more other details I'm pretty sure I missed, but it's just a really fucked up situation. That's all there really is to it. The dude is a fake landlord, terrible person. He just wants me out here so he can put someone else in here and take their money. Like, straight just take up their money. He doesn't own his house anymore, like at all. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't know. Not a problem anymore. So that's what's been going on with me. And that's my little landlord story. So, yeah. Once we move and stuff, I'll be able to go back to making weekly videos. But it's gonna be a minute. Because, yep. Yeah. Woo! It's crazy stuff. If you like the little fucked up things that happen to me, like, subscribe, what have you. I want to hear stuff that you guys have been through that's like this crazy, if not crazier. So please tell me below. I want to know. Like, I want to know that I'm not the only person that has like the worst luck in the world. So please tell me stuff. Make me feel better. Bye.